Hello, champions. It's great to have you in another exciting class. And in this lesson, we shall be learning all about trophic levels. But first, we shall find out the meaning of trophic levels. Trophic levels are simply the levels in a food chain or food pyramid. They are the levels in a food chain or food pyramid. And a food pyramid usually shows how energy is transferred from one ecosystem to another. This means that in the pyramid, there are each level that represents where the living things occupy or the position that they are in the food pyramid. It is important to note that a food pyramid usually starts with producers. The first level is usually the producers. This is because the producers are able to make their own food. And the producers make their own food using sunlight, water and carbon dioxide, and this is known as photosynthesis. And examples of the producers are grasses, flowers, algae, moss, trees and cactus. These are some examples of producers. Whereas there are some living things that cannot make their own food but depend on all other living things or other plants and animals for survival, and they are known as consumers. The consumers are usually divided into three types: the primary consumers, the secondary consumers and the tertiary consumers, and we shall look at them one after the other. The primary consumer usually feed on only plants, and because of this they are known as herbivores. They are herbivores, they feed on only plants. Examples are goat, panda, elephant, cow, hippo, donkey, zebra, camel, giraffe, horse and so many others. Secondary consumers are animals that feed on other plants and animals. They feed on plants and animals and they are known as omnivores. Example are dog, cat, crow, pig and hen and so many others. Now the next is the tertiary consumers. These ones feed on the secondary consumers, which are mainly animals. They feed on animals and they are bigger carnivores. Examples are the eagle, the wolverine, the white dog, crocodile, tiger, the great white shark and so many others. So the food chain usually starts with the producers and ends with the consumers. And it is important to know that each level leads to another group called the decomposers. These decomposers feed on dead plants and animals. It cause them to break down. So the food chain starts with the producers, followed by the primary consumer, the secondary consumer, the tertiary consumer and finally ending at the decomposer, which is another group. Also, we should know that the energy is usually lost as you move from one level to another. Watch the following video for more knowledge.
All of these relationships between different species are founded on one thing: energy. Organisms get food in order to get energy, which is used by the organism for growth, maintaining health, and reproduction. We can classify the members of a community according to how they obtain food. Producers produce their own food. Most producers use sunlight to perform photosynthesis in order to make sugar. The producer then breaks down the sugar, much in the same way as animals, to get energy. Plants, algae, and some bacteria are examples of producers. Consumers consume other organisms as food. Some consumers eat parts of an organism, such as leaves or fruit, while other consumers will eat a whole organism. All animals are consumers. Decomposers get their food from breaking down the matter in dead organisms or waste products. Decomposers ensure that the energy and nutrients that are locked in dead matter are recycled back into the environment. Fungi and most bacteria are examples of decomposers. All of these classifications can be used to generate a flowchart of energy from one group of organisms to another. This flowchart, also called a food chain, shows the flow of nutrients and energy between organisms. At the start of most food chains is the sun. The energy originates from the sun, and plants are able to convert the sun's energy into food that can be utilized by other members of the ecosystem. We can describe how close an organism is to this primary energy source with a hierarchy of levels called trophic levels. The first trophic level is made up of primary producers, the plants that produce their own food. Primary consumers make up the second trophic level. These are the herbivores, organisms that eat producers. The next trophic level consists of carnivores, also called secondary consumers, which are the organisms that eat primary consumers. There can be many more consumers in a community. It is not uncommon for smaller carnivores to be eaten by larger carnivores. These larger carnivores are called tertiary consumers. If a carnivore eats the tertiary consumer, it is called the quaternary consumer, and so on. Decomposers carry a special spot in the food chain. Because they obtain their nutrients by breaking down dead plant and animal matter, all other trophic levels in the food chain go to the decomposers. Combining up all of the food chains within a community, including producers, consumers, and decomposers, gives us a food web. Note that an ecosystem is nowhere near 100% efficient in its energy flow. Every time we move to a higher trophic level, only a small fraction of the energy is passed on and incorporated into the bodies of those organisms. This is called an energy pyramid.
So that's all for this lesson, and see you in the next class. Bye.